Tragedy.
I'm also.
Oh, hang on. It's coming through the Elgato rather than my best catch that now.
I am also recording on Streamlabs OBS at the minute. So.
Okay, cool. There we go.
Is there anywhere you can put your webcam that's like closer to where I am on your screen? Because it looks like you're looking away from me. That's all. Oh, now you look like my lecturers during this year.
Yeah, genuinely. Genuinely, same. We're both at the uni life now.
Yeah.
It's only taken me 2 years to catch up.
You're only this close because I did a foundation year.
I know.
Okay, right.
Should
we do a clap? Do you wanna clap it? Do you wanna do a countdown?
3, 2, 1.
I think that's good. Okay, right.
Yeah,
so I've not spoken to you in a while, George.
No.
Which is why we're changing the name of what these uploads are going to be, and we're thinking we're going to call these family gatherings because we've gotten to a point now where we're very busy people, and we don't live in the same area anymore. So it's gotten to that point of like, oh, you're going to have a family gathering, and then you see all the relatives you don't really speak to, and you're like, oh, so what have you been up to? And you don't really care, but we do it just to be close.
You're still an idiot, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, you're the same.
Oh, I still don't like you. Okay.
Still like Doctor Who? Fuck. We were just talking about Lonely Island.
Mm-hmm.
Just before we start recording, and the song that George has decided to set as his ringtone.
No, because this is like, it's cultural appropriation. You can't do this. Don't be in it like that.
It's heavily cultural appropriation, but it's really funny, right? It's what's the song called again?
It's called Russ Trent by the Lonely Island. It came out in 2011, so back then it was fine.
Yeah, that's your excuse. When did you set it as your ringtone?
Last night.
Oh yeah, true. But that reminded me, because you were talking about music, and then you talked about how Chelsea got you your sister. She's the one who used to play that song.
Yes.
And so you knew it because of that. And I just want to kind of show the stream something else that happened between me and you and music the other day. Between
is this the tweet? Yeah.
Hang on. I need to open up the other window just so I can see what I'm doing. Right. So this is now my screen. So this is George's brother-in-law, right? Who
not in the video.
No. Who tweeted this, right? Hang on.
Mash with y'all.
So few people.
Miss Mahon would let us get away with.
Yeah, so few people realise how AC/DC started. But the best thing about this tweet is that James seems to have uploaded it himself. Yeah, right. Uploaded it himself and then decided to come back later on at me and George and ask if this is us.
I didn't know you did that.
Your sister thinks it definitely is. Okay.
Yep.
I think that it's this level of quality and substance that's missing from most pub bands. George's only words on this are, yeah, and we got it. We would have been so much more successful in life if we had done this.
If we'd have just started that band.
If we just started that band.
We just started that band.
Oh, I love it.
I'll sit there with the helmet on.
That means you're playing guitar. Are we just doing drums?
Oh, true, actually.
Is it just like it's just the flip-flop drums? Because I don't know if I'm into that, George.
Yeah, you just get the flip-flop drums. That's what happened.
I don't know how much I like that. So what's the date today? Full record of videos. 25th. You started university beginning of last week.
Yeah.
How's that been?
You know what? I've been thoroughly enjoying it. So I moved in a week before that. So I'd sort of like acclimatized to the area a lot. The people that I've moved in with are genuinely fantastic people, and I am so glad. You have no idea how glad I am.
It was luck of the draw.
Like a wrong in there. It was it's
choice.
Completely pot luck. We've got a meal plan going. We've got like one of us drives, so we go on regular trips to Asda. It's literally like a little family. I'm the oldest here, which has never happened to me before in my life.
But you did
I've never been the oldest. I've always been the youngest.
You did stay a year in college.
I did stay a year, and I'm literally 20 in like 3 months.
And I thought that'd be the same for me coming here, because I did the foundation in Teesside and then transferred to Bournemouth, and I was like, I'm going to be the oldest. I am like maybe the youngest. Everyone on my course is 21 to 23. And
really?
My closest friends are actually the same year as me. They all did 3 years at college. So I ended up with the same age people. I actually don't think I know somebody who's actually in the year they're meant to be. But,
That's how it goes. It's uni life.
Yeah. And now are you one of the oldest, did you say? Or are you the oldest?
I am the oldest in the flat. Wow. It's getting to a point where I within like literally 3 days, I was dubbed dad. Just because I'm the one who always looks after people, because I can actually handle drink. It's like because I'm a big guy, I can drink a little bit more than other people and get away with it. So I'm the one who's constantly having to look after people when they get absolutely rat-assed. Which has its own perks because now I have a lot of blackmail.
Have you got a phone folder yet? That's when you know you've made it as a blackmail artist. It's when you have a folder on your phone that's just titled blackmail.
I don't have a folder yet. But
I do.
But I'll be making one after this. Thank you for making me aware of that step towards blackmailism.
Oh, no, you're welcome. I mean, I already have one. I've had a folder for ages, and you are definitely in there. I have so many photos of you.
So much.
It's not quite as many as you seem to have of me on your computer, but it's
I have. That's because look, all of the pictures I have of you on my computer are for a professional reason. This.
Yeah, it's. Yeah. I didn't sign any waivers or anything there, so that's my fault. No,
neither did I.
They're on your computer. What are you gonna do when you turn around and go, I'll fucking sue you to yourself in the mirror?
It's happened.
It's happened. Oh man, you've been
there.
I've
been like, I'm gonna sue your ass.
Wow, university's been real tough for you.
Yeah, man. Yeah.
Wow,
I've been in lockdown for 2 days.
Yeah, so, right, what's this about? You've been saying you've been quarantined for 2 days.
So, wake up one morning, and I go to the kitchen like I always do, because despite what happened earlier, I genuinely usually wake up at like 8.
Yeah, whatever.
So I usually like wake up between like 8 and 9, so I basically, so I go into the kitchen, and my friend Abby, who I live with, is like, I've got a bit of a cough. And we're like, okay, great, nice. And she's like a couple hours passes, and she's like, I still have this cough. Usually by now it's gone. And then she sends to the group chat, she's like, meeting in the kitchen, 5 minutes. And we're all like, what are you doing? So we all head to the kitchen, and she stood there. And she's just like, I think I have coronavirus. So
yikes.
So we then sit down, have a good old discussion, and we all said, like, if you think that you have these symptoms, then we're not going anywhere. Let's get some tests in. You can do the test. If they come back negative, then we'll be allowed out. If they come back positive, we can all take them and make sure that nobody else, or make sure that everybody else has had it, you know?
Yeah.
So tests went. It came back. we're all good, basically. So we celebrated and went to Spoons last night, the most corona-ridden place on the planet. But you know, is what it is. So I immediately went into the quarantine hermit style.
You mean your life?
Huh?
You mean your life?
All right, hang on. hold the phone.
So basically, nothing changed.
Nothing changed. No, I had my my burrito blanket.
Yeah.
I had that around my head with a beanie on the top of it to keep it in place, and I was using a broom as a pokey stick, and I made a fort. And I'm reading The Witcher, and I'm literally like, at one point, I'm sat on the floor, nobody else is around, and I've got a blanket on my head, a broom in my hand, and I'm sat cross-legged in the corner of my very dark room in a fort that I made out of a mattress.
That's why the mattress was next to your bed this morning.
And that's why this is here.
Right.
And I straight up just went, the fuck am I doing? And got changed and went back into the kitchen. I was like, I'm gonna make breakfast.
I like that no less than 5 minutes ago, the words "I am 20 in 3 months" came out of your mouth.
That's straight up. I was sat there thinking, I was like, I'm 20 in December. Like looked at this broom, looked at myself. I was like an out of body experience, and I was like, dude, grow up. Dude, come on. You're not mad yet. You're not senile yet.
You're only in your first week of university. You're not
my
there
first
yet.
week of uni. Oh my god. But no, actually, university, to go back to the previous question, I'm really enjoying it. Actually being taught how to animate things, super, super fun.
Cool.
And the thing that I'm actually enjoying the most, because it's so new and everything, is actually understanding how to use Maya and animate in Maya. Purely just because of the fact that it's new and it's something that I can teach myself and get influence from other people on and stuff like that. I know that you're not a big fan of 3D modeling, but when it's completely new
3D modeling in Maya as well, like...
Oh, it's super complicated.
Part of my course. It's overly complex and it's not intuitive at all. It's really, really awful.
Why didn't they... So why is Alt the key to start moving things around? Spacebar. Why not spacebar?
Thank you. And also,
100%.
The worst part about Maya for me is that it operates really heavily off of hotkeys and stuff. That it doesn't tell you how to do them all. And my tutors just fucking love to be like, and then you just do this, and then you hear a clicking noise on the keyboard, and I'm like, what did you do? You didn't tell us. You just used your shortcut that you invented. So
when we were starting animation, and my tutor was like, right, so you need to come over here, you need to right click, add keyframe, then you need to move the object, your cube, over to the left, then you need to go back up there, right click, but in a very specific spot. You're not allowed to click anywhere else, otherwise it won't work. Very specific spot, click, and then add keyframe again, and that's how you get it to move. He didn't fucking tell us you could press S. Literally press S, and it would sort it all out for you.
The thing, and we've been told this our entire educational lives, which is save every
don't give in to peer
10
pressure.
Minutes.
Yeah,
that too. But you know, fall into this peer pressure of saving every 5 minutes. Because Maya loves to crash. Maya is huge on crashing.
Automatically, I was really surprised yesterday. I left Maya on my computer all day. Not a single crash. Very, very happy with my computer. But basically, Maya in the preferences actually has an autosave feature.
Yeah, it does. But it's not always the most reliable because...
No, of course not.
For me, for modelling, I can get things done a bit quicker than probably you can in animating. So I can end up doing quite a lot of the model in 5 minutes, and then it crashes before the autosave, and then I load it back up and I've lost it all. So usually after I've done everything, like if I've done something, I've gone, fucking hell, that sucked, I just save it. I don't want to do that again, fuck that, nope.
Fair enough, yeah.
Which is usually why when a teacher goes, that looks kind of wrong, maybe like change that, I'm like, nah, I'm just going to take the grade, thanks. I don't care. I hate 3D modelling, but I got one of my highest grades in 3D modelling.
That's always how it is, though, isn't it?
Yeah,
it's like the drive, because you hate it, you have that drive to be like, I have to do this.
I don't remember what my... I'm trying to sign into my Sketchfab. If people don't know, although we've just talked about it, Maya is basically a 3D rendering software, so you can use it to model things, not typically sculpt. You would kind of save that for ZBrush and stuff, but you'd use it for 3D modeling. So for making basically game assets and stuff, but you can also use it to do like 3D animation, which I'm assuming you're doing it as 3D, which is cool.
Yeah,
you wanted to vary. Yeah,
that's why it's so interesting to me, just because it's something different, and I've never dabbled with 3D animation before.
No.
So actually, like, using those principles I've learned in like everything else, and just applying it to something that's a little bit different.
Yeah, and just to show a bit of reference to what this can kind of look like, this was the thing I had to do last year. We had to make a car from the 1950s.
Right, yes.
It had to be a convertible, because then you had to do the inside. Cunt. So yeah, like, it's good, but I fucking hated every second of making this car. Like, the things like this, I had to create geometry with lines and then bevel it inwards to make it look like a door. And then these, it's just, I hated it. I hated it so much, but I got a good grade on it. It's just really kind of upsetting, because like, I have friends that are like really into 3D modeling, they want to do it, and they didn't do as well, and I'm there like all year being like, I fucking hate modeling, no, fuck this, I don't even want to do modeling, I understand it, that's all I needed to do was understand it, and I get it, I don't even care if I fail it, and then I get like the highest mark, and I just look like an asshole, and I'm like, I didn't want this. I wanted a high mark in this thing, so... But if you like it, it's fun. But it's
interesting. I think. Yeah. It's definitely not what I want to do in the industry. But it's interesting knowing and understanding it, so that if it does come up in the industry, I'm not just there like, Maya? Who's Maya?
I was so excited about it. Foundation year, like, I didn't want to do it. I don't want to. I'm doing game design because I want to be a creative director. I want to tell stories and I want to make those games. I don't want to be a modeler. I just wanted to do it to see what it was like. I think I got kind of put off by my teacher in foundation year. His name was Casto Vocal, who is he was the lead environment artist for the first Dead Space game.
That's dope.
I loved that game. I really, really loved that game. He was an asshole. Like, seriously, he was not. He was just an asshole. I think he just put me off. He would do this thing where you would sit in his lectures and he would be like, and here's how you do, and he would just spend the whole hour just making something. And then I would have on my timetable, I would go straight from that to a lab of his where we would then have to do the same thing we just watched him do, but none of us paid attention because it was boring.
Yeah.
So I didn't do any of it. I just kind of did my stuff on 3D modeling instead of what he wanted. I got a lower grade that year. Actually, I got a much lower grade that year. And this year I did really well. But I hated my teachers this year too. So
I was going to say, I feel like with education, there's a need for genuinely interesting people to teach lessons. Genuinely interesting. That's why I think the idea of getting in guest lecturers is such a prominent, like, big thing. It's like my first day here, we had an introduction video by one of the creators of Aardman, which was Wallace and Gromit and Chicken Run.
Yeah. Is
and Shaun the Sheep.
They're partners though with your university, right? Because that's a PlayStation option. Cool.
Which if I get the grades, that would be dope. Yeah. But yeah, it's super interesting. And then you get the actual lecturers, and they're all like, "Here's a picture of me and my sister." Genuinely, here's a picture of me and my sister. My sister's now a medic in the NHS. And then he like goes to the next slide, and he's like, "That's what we call a story." I don't know why I sound like the red guy from Don't Hug Me, I'm scared.
It's not always the people.
I am a file and you put documents in me.
Some of these lecturers are a bit like robots. It's not.
Yeah.
I know it's not just my experience because I've been to 2 different universities for the same course. I transferred midway, and in both universities, and it's clearly a game design thing, but probably some artsy stuff anyway. I imagine animation is actually quite similar. They're all introverts. My course is taught by gamers.
Yeah, of course.
None of them go outside. No, they do. They are they're nice people, but they obviously have forms of social anxiety. Either they expect you to know.
These are the people who came out after quarantine and went, "What quarantine?"
Yeah. Well, here's the thing, right? So it's not that they're all like antisocial. And when I say introverts, I don't mean like they won't talk to anyone. It's just that they're not built to be sat in front of 100 people. And telling us how to do things. And then you have the other extreme side of the spectrum, which are teachers who are happy to talk to you, but usually they just expect you to know everything already. I've not started uni again this year. I will start Monday, but on yesterday we had a like introduction about what our year is going to look like for second year. So I'm a level 5 game design student now, and so they were like, here are all of our modules. And here's a brief video that each of the lecturers have done, and one of them turned around and went, using the skills you learnt in Bob pipeline, I think it's like games development pipeline, you're going to use that to help make a really, really easy game and put a UI interface because it's for UI design. And I'm in a Discord chat with like all of the people on my course, and we're like, what the fuck did we learn in that lesson last year? Like, my teacher in that lesson, if you asked him something, he told you to Google it.
Oh my god. Oh my god.
And my friend was like, I swear to God, if he says Google it one more time, I'm going to ask him, aren't you the teacher? And like all of my friends doubted him. He was like, how do I do this? He went, Google it. And he just went, aren't you the teacher? And I was like, ugh. I was sat right next to him as well. I was in the chair next to him, and I was like, Ben, shut the fuck up. Oh my god. But then I was like, no, actually, fair enough. I paid like 10 grand a year to be here. No, like, not for Google. Fuck
That's
off.
why, so my one pet peeve with my course so far is that because we've had to do this transition to Zoom online lessons and like using Teams and stuff like that.
Oh, we don't use Teams. That's interesting.
I was supposed to have a live drawing lesson. As someone who draws, you know, I was pretty looking forward to it. I was like, I can't wait to draw some songs.
Of course.
But basically, about an hour before my lesson, which was supposed to be in person, by the way, they go, oh, right, yeah, we haven't sorted anything out for this. Here's a YouTube video. A free domain YouTube video, which anybody can pay 10 grand to watch. And so it was a super useful YouTube video, but it was literally just a recording of a live drawing class. That's all it was. And they were like, watch this video, it's really great. And it's just this guy sat there in a loincloth, getting in weird positions. Literally for half of it, the head of his penis is falling out. And it's like, dude, readjust, we don't mind. Like,
that's a bit annoying.
And then I haven't been able to get into lessons. So there was one lesson that was the 2D animation lesson, and
the one you want to do.
The one that I want to do, yeah. Which they actually streamed their lesson on Teams in case people had to self-isolate.
Right.
Which is such a fucking genius way of doing it. Because it means that if you are self-isolating, then you can just watch the lecture as it's happening, and you can still, like, talk to the lecturers and everything just by turning on your microphone. Every other lecturer, for some reason, doesn't know how to turn a webcam around so that we can see the class. So they don't stream it on Teams, they don't do anything with Teams. They post the recording of it on the learning space later, and then go, if you weren't in the lesson, here's a bunch of videos that you should have looked at anyway. Which gives me the entire illusion of, what the hell was that lesson for if all the videos are online anyway?
So is your course meant to be like a mix between
It's supposed to be a mix, yeah.
Okay. My uni about a month ago did another risk assessment, and they decided it wasn't safe, and they've gone purely online this year.
Really?
Yeah. So we use a thing called Brightspace for Bournemouth. and through that we can go into our modules, and then on the modules, you can click communication or content maybe, and then go down to Zoom. And when you click that, it gives you the join code for each lectures room, and then you just join it every day. And they take your register by who was on the Zoom call, and it tells you how long they stayed in the Zoom call.
Oh, okay, that's dope. I can way you don't get
but then I can just mute.
Popping in and leaving.
I can just mute and do my own thing anyway.
And lurk. Yeah.
Lurk.
Literally.
Put in the cellophane lurk me.
My lecturer, literally, his name's Julian, lovely bloke. He sounds like Simon Honeydew of the Yogscast. It's very off-putting. He keeps on using the word lurk. Huh?
Off-putting or comforting?
I say off-putting because now I've noticed it, I can't not notice it. I'm waiting for him to go, like,
yeah. Or to start singing Diggy Diggy Hole.
Diggy Hill, yeah. But no, he, I forgot what I was going to say. Let's talk about fucking Yogscast. I've actually completely forgotten.
He's a lovely bloke, you were saying.
He's a lovely bloke. What was I saying before that? What led to this conversation?
I don't. Lurk. He says lurk. He says lurk
right.
a lot.
Lurking.
There you go.
He loves using the word. He loves using the word lurk. He's like, okay, everybody. Hopefully, we don't have any lurkers. And I'm like, great.
Look at him down with the kids. Like, fuck me. I have teachers that are I watched I didn't even tell you. Right, so in my induction yesterday, it was an induction for the Faculty of Science and Technology, which is the faculty I'm in, but then the Department of Creative Technology, which is the department I'm in the faculty, which meant that after they went through all of the modules I'm doing video by video, they did all of the other subjects, and I was still in the call. And the first one that opened up for the one afterwards, which is programming AI, he was like, this one's a bit loud, I'm told. And he starts playing it, and you just hear da 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 da, and they do the scrolling text, and it's like in a university far, far away. And I was like, fucking hell, oh no! Like, I get that it came out in your time, but you look like a boomer. I need you to stop.
Don't want anybody lurking. Da, 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 da.
But the worst part is, me and my friends are like, what are they doing? This is so embarrassing. And then at the end, he does it again for the outro. And I'm like, oh my God, no. And that entire time, there are like 5 police cars outside my fucking window arresting 2 guys.
Okay, yeah.
That was entertaining.
You had police cars outside of your window, and I looked out my window, and there was the brightest rainbow you'd ever seen. It was beautiful. It was like you could see every colour individually. Oh,
I don't remember at what point I noticed. I was doing something, and I must have gone like this, and I kind of did, and I was like, what the fuck? And there were and there were 3 police cars, right? That's 6 police officers for 1 van, which is gone now, right? It had 2 guys in it, and they were pinning one guy against the van, like his back against the van, just talking to him. And then another police car shows up. That's 8 police officers. His friend's not really attacking them or doing anything, but he's giving mouth a little bit. And then suddenly, out of nowhere, the guy pinned against the van starts like headbutting one of the police officers and kicking and punching, right? All fucking 8 of them. Well, it's probably about 6 of them, because one of them's definitely got the other guy staying still.
Yeah.
They sprint at him. They start like trying to get him to the ground. The guy's flailing. He kicks his leg out, knocks one of the police officers over. He doesn't like that. The police officer gets back up, fucking swipes his leg out from under him, kicks him in the ribs, flips him over, and they tackle him down. And I was like, why didn't I record this part? This part was good. But like the reason George knows about this is I sent a Snapchat to George and Eve, who's my partner who I live with, and I was like, I had my phone out and I was like, oh, I'm just in a Discord with my friends and this is the chat, and then I just went out the window and there's like 5 police cars at that point, just like fucking trying to arrest 2 guys, mental. And then the police riot van shows up to get the guys in the van. And they kept attacking it. Like, the guy kept trying to attack the police officers. He got pinned after that. He got pinned onto the hood of a car, and they kept searching him for stuff. stuff. And then he was like screaming, "Record this! They're assaulting me! Help! Help!" But I was like, "I just watched you attack them. I'm not buying your story." And then after like a solid 20 minutes, he gets put in a riot van. But I was really mad at the missed opportunity of getting them fighting and me showing all of this with like Mr. Blue Sky playing like bump 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 sun is shut, and it's just like people beating the shit out of each other outside
shining in the sky.
But that was eventful. It made my call much more interesting.
That it did.
Yeah, and that's the only call that I've had. And the best part is Eve came home like midway during that police thing, and it was literally on like just beyond our pavement, and I'm on the pavement, and Eve walks in and like, "What the fuck is going on?" And I'm like, "You didn't see my Snapchat, did you?" It was it was something else. I've lived here in this flat for about
like a month or two.
June, July, August, September, August. Yeah, about 2 months. Wow, it feels longer than that. But
I was gonna say it wasn't too long
like
ago that we were both back home. So
yeah, it was just before that, by a little bit. Yeah, it was very yeah. I've not had anything like that. I've had a guy knock on my door and ask me for drugs, but I've not had the police thing before.
Oh, I thought you were going to, but I didn't have them, so I told him to leave.
The best part about that was that we're watching TV. Our couch is right there. Our door is right here. Eve sat where the yellow pillow is. The door goes. I open the door. She sat right behind the door, and the guy's like, "Have you got a spare room?" And I'm like, "This isn't a hotel." And he went, "Oh, it's not a hotel." And I was just thinking, does it look like a hotel? It's a house. There are no signs anywhere that indicate it's a hotel or an inn or an Airbnb or anything of the sort. And then he goes,
"There's a stables outside for your wife who's pregnant."
Yeah, go sleep on the steps downstairs. And he was like, "Oh, okay." And he went to turn, and he turned back and went, "Have you got anything like to smoke? You know, like for a good time?" And he did that action, and I was like, "I don't do drugs," like with a really straight face. And he went, "No, not drugs, just something to relax." And I was like...
He turns around and he's like, "You got those sweet Mary Janes?"
And I was like...
"You want to smoke on the devil's lettuce?"
But I had to tell him that those were drugs. And then as he walked away, he kept turning around going, no drugs, no drugs. And then he turned back, walked on a few more steps, turned around and went, "Remember, no drugs." And then just kept walking. And I shut the door, and I'm like, "Eve, we've lived here for a week, and we've already had this encounter." I mean, I've been asked for drugs before. Like, I'm from Exeter.
Yeah,
it happens.
Be fair.
But I've never had. It's the first time we've had a door.
Someone's ever knocked on the door, being like,
"Yeah, like,
hello, have you got any drugs for sale?"
I don't really run a collection service, mate. I'm sorry. It's not click and collect. You can't just like. But like that's just my door's now on ground level. Like you walk out, there's a little path, and there's the road, and so like there's no filter like you have now of like a reception or a key card lock or anything like that. It's just people can knock on my door.
Slow sip.
And stare through my window.
A slow sip.
What's wrong with a slow sip?
I'm
savouring.
And stare through my window.
Stare through my window with me and Eva having dinner at the table, which is in the window bay. And they like, you look at them because they've looked in your window, and then they look at you like, "What the fuck are you looking at?" And I'm like, "You looked into my window. What do you want from me? I'm eating dinner. Fuck off. Just walk away."
What are you reading at the moment, Luke?
Nothing. Oh my god, it was like a year ago. I realized that they released a new Skullduggery book. Right, yes. I love Skullduggery Pleasant with a passion. I love it so much. It's like a huge passion to read. And he kind of, it's one of those books that kind of ages with the character, so it starts off a bit, I mean, it's still pretty fucked, but it starts off a bit lighter, and it gets darker and darker and darker and darker, and then it ended, and he was like, I'm done. That's Skullduggery. I've done the story. And then
I remember.
And then he kind of realized, he was like, I actually think I have more to tell of this character. So
no, he was like, I'm running out of money.
he wrote other books. He started a series called Demon Roads or Demon Days or something like that. I didn't read it, but he did do stuff. And then he also writes for comic books, so he did a Winter Soldier comic.
Nice.
And he was basically saying, I've got more... I kind of left the main character, Valkyrie, in a really mentally fucked up place. And I feel like there's more to her story. She's still really young and she still has the rest of her life. So I'm starting phase 2 of Skullduggery Pleasant. It's more grown up. She's an adult. It's darker. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more unknown. And since I started doing that, they're about 4 books in. And I had bought one of the books because it was signed. I keep getting Derek Landy books signed by accident. I just find them in Waterstones. And then I buy them because I think if I don't buy it now, I'll buy it later and it won't be signed. And it's the same price. I bought it, but I was reading a series called The Magicians, which took me forever to read. It was only 3 books, but the chapters were like 40 pages long every chapter, and it's driving me insane. I can't stop.
A chapter is a good milestone to like stop at with a reading thing.
Not just a good. I can't stop
agree.
mid-chapter. I can't do it. It really frustrates me. And so, like, if I don't have the time to read like 40 to 60 odd pages or something stupid, I just didn't read it. So it took me like ages. And the first book was really slow, but it was so worth it for the build-up for the second and the third book because they were amazing. But I definitely got to a point where I was like, I've been meaning to read that Skullduggery sequel for so long, and then I managed to read like all 4 of them. And the new one comes out next year now, so I'm a bit like, I'm still in the world of Skullduggery, and I don't really want to leave it yet. Even though it's been like 3 months since I finished the book, I'm just not ready to move on.
So me and you read our process is very different because you read entire book series at a time.
Yeah, I
like pick out a book series, a single book from that series, read it, and then move on to another, like the beginning of another series, and then come back to that series a bit later. So I've just finished the second Throne of Glass book, which super hyped to read the third one. Genuinely
not hyped enough to go get it and read it.
I genuinely I'm genuinely considering getting it delivered to the apartment. Like, genuinely.
Do it. Why wouldn't you do it?
I will. It's purely because of the fact that I have so much reading that I need to pick up on. Since then, I've started reading The Witcher. I think it's Blood of Elves that I'm reading.
Yeah. So
because it has a... Right, I'm very pissed off. 2 seconds. Ignore my pyjama bottoms. I look like I'm dressed, but I'm not. 2 seconds.
Just be lucky he's wearing pyjama bottoms, guys.
What was that?
Nothing.
Nothing. So, Witcher, Blood of Elves. Basically,
oh no, George! You got the reprint cover.
The shitty reprint cover. At least it's not the one with fucking Henry Cavill on the front of it.
True.
So another thing that's annoyed Dom.
Hang on.
Just whilst Luke's away. Just whilst Luke's away. Another thing that's annoyed me is that I have Good Omens, the book Good Omens, but it's the reprinted cover, so it's got like David Tennant and the other one on it. It's really, really annoying. Look at him, he's back. He's coming back.
Huh?
I was talking to the audience.
This is what the actual cover looks like.
Oh, that's dope. I like that a lot.
And all of them are like the same style of cover. These editions.
Have you read it?
No. So, because before you talk about what it's like to actually read the book, I started reading. I've read a couple of them, but this isn't one of them because there's a list on Reddit about the order to read it in.
Yeah, that's what I wanted to talk about.
Yeah. So I kind of...
It really annoyed me.
You kind of start off with this one, which is short stories.
It's not short stories. So this
maybe this one isn't. It might be the Sword.
I think it's the Last Wish and the Tales of the Witcher or something. Or Swords of Destiny.
So those are
all. So those are all short stories. Mm-hmm. But I picked up this one because it's got a giant ass 1 on the side of it, signifying that it's the first book that you should read. It isn't the first book you should read.
Yeah.
There's the the Last Wish is, I think, the one that the Netflix show is adapted from.
Yeah,
and then this takes place immediately after the Netflix show. So
this is
it makes sense from what I've seen, but not from what I've read. So, like, you go through the beginning, and Ciri and Geralt are already traveling together.
Yeah.
And he's found her, and I've forgotten. Is his name Dandelion?
No, he's called Dandelion in the game.
Oh, I see.
He's called Jaskier. Jaskier in the book.
I was going to say, because
actually, he's not called Jaskier. His name Jaskier means the same thing as what he's called in the book. He's got a different
because they keep
name.
referring to him as Dandelion.
Do they in the book?
Yeah, in the book they keep referring to him as Dandelion. So obviously that's the bard in the show that's been following around Geralt for years and years, and then they have a big falling out. This picks up pretty much with him singing a song about Geralt of Rivia, which I like to think is toxic audio Witcher. It's definitely not. Yeah. So I was like super confused, thinking that it was going to be like a flashback sort of thing where he's talking about how how Ciri found Geralt and all of that good stuff and all of that. It's not that at all. It's just Ciri doing some training and so far. And so this is why I was super relieved that you said that you didn't like long chapters. A chapter in this book, chapter 1 is 45 pages long. And it's like, I'm on chapter 3 at the moment. Haven't started it yet. But this chapter is like another 30 pages long, and I don't like it.
I've just done some research real quick. He is called Jaskier in the Polish, which is what it's natively written in, which is why they called him that in the show. But that translates to Dandelion, which is why it's that in the English book and why they call it in the game.
Okay, cool.
So, because here's the thing that some people don't realize about The Witcher is that The Witcher is it originally was a short story. It was a published short story, but it got a lot of attention, and so we wrote books about it. Which means that maybe even three, it might be two of the books are short story format, and they're basically, because Geralt he's a Witcher, which is for a really long time. Geralt has lived quite a long life already. He's probably around, I don't even think they ever really say it, but maybe 60 or something in human years. And so he's lived a long life already, and he's going to live a lot longer. And so what they do is they do different short stories at different points of his life of him meeting important people in his life and the different contracts he's taken. But the one thing you'll notice, and I've seen a couple people from Achievement Hunter just blow up ranting about this. There isn't a lot going on in action terms. It's usually him telling people about the action as opposed to actually the fighting happening in the short stories, which is fine. Like, I'm okay with it, but I've not gotten to the point of actually reading them all yet. I've just not had the energy to. It's not the easiest read at times.
How many books are there?
6? 5? Hang on.
Oh, actually, I think it's on the back of this. 7, I think.
Hang on.
Not including this one, maybe 8?
8.
Yeah, okay, cool.
The Witcher series, 8 books. I cannot stand it when books get reprinted from the movies or the games or whatever, and they have the cover with the character on it from the movie. I hate it. I won't buy them. I will never buy them. I cannot stand it.
I only picked up this one because it was like a $5 in Waterstones, and I was like, oh, Witcher, cool.
They did a reprint of The Lightning Thief for Percy Jackson because they did the awful movie.
The awful movies. There was a second one as well.
It was even worse, and they reprinted it with Logan Lerman on the front. And I have no issue with the people involved in like the actors and stuff, but the movie wasn't good. And to put the movie on the book, which had so much more detail, after you basically didn't let Rick Riordan have any say in how it should be, even though it's his story, to then put it on his book just felt like a kick in the balls. Like, we're already down, don't make it worse.
You missed them both the first time. Got them both the second. Yeah.
The worst part is, and they knew they weren't going to continue it, so they just kind of like kamikazed the second movie. They were like, we know there are 3 more books, but we're just going to try and put everything from the 3 other books in this one movie. And that's why it was so bad. But I cannot stand the Lightning Thief movie. But interesting news: Rick Riordan got a deal with. Might be Netflix. No, might be Disney, to make and write his own TV show for Percy Jackson.
Yeah, so I only ever read. I've read 1.5 Percy Jackson books. I'm sorry, but that's what I'm talking about. Because I immediately started reading Sea of Monsters after Lightning Thief, and my attention span does not last that long with the same characters. I have to have that break in between to make sure that I still want to keep on reading.
Yeah.
And it's like if I try to power through it, it just feels like more like a chore than a pleasure to get through.
See, this is where it is where we differ, and we don't we differ in some ways in life, George. But there are some things that we just don't. We're exactly the same.
We are. Yeah.
Reading is not one of them. If I start reading a series, I have even if I've got books to read. And I don't have any money, I just wait till I have money and buy the next book. Because I have to get absorbed in that world. I have to follow it all the way through. Especially for things like Throne of Glass. There are so many fucking names and places. And you just forget all of them by the time I get to the next one if I didn't read it. And I imagine The Witcher would be the same. Although a lot of the characters from The Witcher games are actually from the books. Because it's a sequel to the books. So
yes.
Some of them stick, like Dijkstra. I know Dijkstra's in the book that you're reading now. He's from the game, so I know him. But there are loads of Polish-based names that I know I'd forget. And they would bring them up if I read the book a year later. And I'd be like, I don't know who this is. I have no clue. I was reading Throne of Glass book after book, and I forgot who people were. There are so many people. But yeah, I recommend Throne of Glass to absolutely everyone. I can't think of a person.
They're fantastic.
Yeah,
they're joyous.
And I wouldn't have even heard of them if Eve. She loves them. She's the one who told me to read them, and she bought them all because she hadn't. She read them from a friend, so she bought them all for herself, and I read them all. And don't skip out on the novella about Kale, who is in Tower of Dawn. That's what it's called. It's by far one of my favorite books in the series, and it's not even part of the main. It's like a novella. It's a side thing. He goes off at one point for a year to do his own thing, and it's so interesting. I love it. But you finished Heir of Darkness?
Midnight
Assassin.
Is it Midnight Assassin?
What's the second?
Throne of Glass and then Crown of Midnight.
Yeah, you finished that one. So next one is Heir of Fire.
Yeah.
It really opens up there. Holy fuck. Yeah, you've got 5 more books.
I know.
And now you're reading The Witcher.
Yeah, I'm reading The Witcher, and also I've got Game of Thrones still running.
I was going to say, did you even finish the first book in Game of Thrones?
I finished the first book, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so the first book is basically, I believe, the first season of the series.
Roughly,
yeah. So I don't mean to spoil anything, but a certain character gets beheaded.
Okay.
And that's basically where it stops. The first book, I have not, because they are monsters.
They're this big, all of them.
I know. I have the second and third one in my little cupboard up there. So I think after Witcher, I'm either going to read Good Omens or continue reading Game of Thrones. Obviously, I will get around to a third Throne of Glass book, of course.
You think you're unlocking secrets now, George? You have no idea. Holy fuck!
I know that in part of that second book, fight scene, the portal, and
yeah. You now You've now gotten to the point where Kale becomes my absolute most interested in character.
Yeah.
For a lot of moral reasons that are kind of explored in the book afterwards.
Nice.
We can't talk about too much now because I don't want to spoil anything.
I don't want to spoil it for,
I've just told people
me,
to
and I
go
don't want to spoil
read
it for people who might want to read it. Yeah.
Right, I'm like, go read it. You've got 5 seconds until I spoil the book. You better read them all in those 5 seconds. Like,
we should make a little book club.
Maybe.
Where we just talk about books.
I would wanna finish the seasons of books, and you wouldn't.
So... Well, if we read our separate things and then we can just talk about what's going on in them.
I don't know. It could be more interesting to have the conversation together.
Yeah, true.
But I don't see that working unless we only ever read one book series.
One book at a time.
Yeah.
And I'm pretty sure you're a faster reader than I am, so...
I read quite fast. Yeah.
I'm a slow reader. I like taking it in and processing it.
Skullduggery was like a book a day.
Really?
I was just getting through them. They're not like the longest books, but they're not the shortest by far. I was reading them all in a day.
On my reading list at the moment, I have obviously The Witcher, the first Witcher book. I then got Three Musketeers, which I really want to read. So there's a company on Amazon which posts or print books for students. So they use really cheap materials, really cheap covers, and they're like the classic books, and they're like £2.50. And that's where I got Three Musketeers from. And I was looking through Amazon at the front covers, and it's literally like people taken from stock images on the front covers, and it's hilarious. I have to try to find these for you, just because they are actually hilarious. Hang on. But yeah, it's Three Musketeers. I don't know if I want to actually start reading Three Musketeers, because again, that's a beast. But yeah.
I really don't know what my next thing was going to be. I was going to start reading this, which is kind of like a comical approach in teaching you what the responsibilities of a knight were during the medieval era.
Nice.
So it's not like a story, it is an informative book. But it's like, it's them being like, let me see if I can find something that's funny.
Okay, cool. Yeah, so it's the Wordsworth Classics. I'm just gonna find one of the funnier looking covers.
It basically says, right, the knight, which is the book, is the supreme warrior of the Middle Ages, his strength and valour the stuff of legend. Here, Michael Prestwich cuts through the myth and the romance to bring you the real deal. His expert guide to life on campaign and a court is packed with contemporary accounts and surprising details. So basically, when you think of knight, you think like plate armor, jousting, like, ooh, good sir, stuff like that. It's not like that. You own land, you had responsibilities. When you went to war, your wife looked after your responsibilities for you. You would eat this sort of food, which isn't very nice, but you had to eat it because it's just what they thought you had to eat. Your training was ridiculous. Your battlement was ridiculous. Jousting was a thing, but it was like also ridiculous. They talk about the chivalric code, which, if anyone's ever watched Horrible Histories, they do go into. They go into about how a knight will not kill a peasant, but the peasants are uprising, and the knights are like, well, we can't kill you because
now
you're a peasant
too.
Because in the you remember the exact episode? Holy fuck! Because in that episode, they denounce their knighthood, become peasants, and then they kill the peasants. Yeah,
and they go through and kill everybody.
But yeah, it's stuff like that, and I was looking at it as a sort of study on realism knight portrayal in games and stuff around King Arthur time and stuff like that. But I've not really gone through it properly yet. I bought it ages ago.
Trying to find these funny looking books. There was one that literally looked like just a stock image of an actor. I can't remember which book it was. It might have been of Mice and Men.
Oh, okay. Bit of John Steinbeck.
Yeah. You know what? I never studied of Mice and Men at school.
Tell you what, so I know that a lot of people read it. I actually really, really love Of Mice and Men. I think it's a really good book. I studied Heroes.
This is the one.
Well, you got it?
Okay, yeah. It was Tom Sawyer and Huckleberry Finn.
Go on. No, go on, share it.
Look at this shit.
Oh my god, why is Frodo Baggins with this guy in a cowboy hat?
Oh my god, look! Look at how happy they both look.
I'm sorry, but that's definitely not how George or Lenny look, for sure. Holy shit.
His face looks photoshopped.
That is photoshopped.
Yeah, it's literally...
Look at the hairline.
You can see the outline of the face. Here. That is someone else's face put onto that poor actor.
Wow. It's the Darth Vader debacle all over again.
Gulliver's Travels.
Okay, that is from a fancy dress shop window.
Why is it? Look at the little guy. Oh, it looks ridiculous.
Oh, I like that. I like that a lot.
It looks like Henry Cavill had a bad day.
Oh, that's good. I like that a lot.
Oh, it's dreadful, dude.
What are you watching anything at the minute? Are you in a TV show? You don't even seem to have your PlayStation in your room a lot of the time now.
No, so I'm watching a lot of stuff in the kitchen. I basically have the PS4 as a streaming console for everybody else at the moment. I was watching Brooklyn Nine-Nine, but Series 7 isn't on Netflix at the moment because Brooklyn Nine-Nine is a very, very good show. I like it a lot.
I do too. I've not been good at watching the newer seasons.
No, I need to watch Series 7, but it's just not on any streaming services at the moment except like HBO Online.
We were watching
I don't want to use that.
On... It may have been Sky Q. Eve has the Sky Q app on a...
I see. Yeah.
So that might be how we were doing it.
Yeah, and now I think one of my friends wants me to watch Umbrella Academy. And
I've
Misfits.
not watched that yet.
I haven't watched it.
Misfits is fucking great. Like, it's just over the top. It's so good. And it has one of the best lines in any TV show ever. And it gets memed a lot. And it is my favourite thing to see pop up on my feed after like a year of not just forgetting that it existed. Like, it's funny. It's really good. Umbrella Academy I've not seen.
I feel like it's again one of those things that gets so hyped up.
Yeah, and I heard it
just puts you off a little bit. Yeah.
I heard people say it was really bad. And so I didn't watch it. Because it didn't look good to me particularly, and everyone said it was bad, so I was like, it's probably bad. But now everyone's saying it's really good,
really
and it's
great.
always been good. And I'm like, when did you change your mind? Like, I'll get around to it, but I've got other things to watch.
Yeah.
So, yeah. Okay, so you got a few things on your watch list then.
Yeah. How about you? What are you watching at the moment?
Well... What if I said da 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 da, and it goes. Do you not know that? It's Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh, okay, I see. Okay, no, I've never watched Buffy. Never watched Buffy.
It's every single season is on Amazon Prime. Yeah, which is great because my first Christmas with Eve, I bought her the whole box set from CEX, every single one, like thick things, because they're like 22 episodes per season. I bought her all of them, and now we're watching them on Prime, as the DVDs sit in the cupboard underneath the TV that we commit the sacrilege on. But I'm having a blast. I love Buffy. It's already got the inspirational juices flowing. Like, I've already been writing stuff
Writing your
in the
fan
universe.
fiction.
It's basically, I was thinking about it as I was writing it, and I was like, this is basically fan fiction. I don't like to call it that. I think it cheapens what it is, but I'm writing stuff in the universe just to explore the lore. I like that.
Nice.
It's real good. I think you'd really like it. It's very dated, but it's good.
I found the Truro CEX the other day. It's absolutely tiny.
Smaller than Exmouth? How? How does it get smaller than Exmouth?
It's tiny. It's absolutely tiny. I think genuinely compared to the Exorcist store.
Yeah.
Like, oh my god, it looks like it's about a quarter of the downstairs area. Like it's tiny. And it was one of those where, like, I looked through the window. I didn't go in, but I could see all of our counterparts, like, just like behind the till. I was like,
"That's the
shit,
Brad."
Look, there's Brad. I was like, yeah, there's the Brad. There's the that. And then there was like one guy wearing a beanie. I was like, okay, okay.
I found me.
Brother.
The CX here is not too bad. It's not huge. It's really long. It's like it's probably about the square footage of most of the upstairs area in Exeter, but it's like maybe it's a bit smaller. There's one in Boscombe, which is about a 30-minute from here. About 15 actually. If I ride my bike along the beach, you can be at Boscombe Pier and just walk up the hill, and that's maybe about the same size. But they've been quite good. In Boscombe, I found the collector's edition of The Witcher.
Nice.
Which is why I've got a statue of Geralt slaying the Griffin now. Eve bought it for me. She saw it in the window and instantly just walked in and bought it. She literally didn't hesitate. She was like, "Oh my god," and just walked in. I was like, "Where are you going?" So that's been really good luck. And in the one around the corner from me now, they have Assassin's Creed Black Flag statue of Edward Kenway hanging on a mast with like the rope
I
in his
remember
hand and
I was gonna get you that statue for I think your birthday a couple of years ago when Black Flag like had just come out because they were selling them in game, and I just didn't have the money to get it in the end because it was still like 30 quid.
Well, we've got another. Do I move my phone? I'm gonna move my phone. You're gonna be able to see this, right? So I've got this sort of statue collection going on right now.
Nice.
So that's Geralt. And then Bayek, a Siwa on the Anubis head. And then that's Alexios jumping off of Medusa's head from. So that's basically out of the RPG trilogy, I've got 2 or 3. 3 comes out in November. Nice. I've also got the Dishonored statue followed by Kratos, which George gave me.
Yeah, he broke immediately, didn't he?
He did. He fell off my desk, unfortunately, and snapped his leg off. So I glued it back on.
Fair enough.
But I keep him up there. He keeps safe instead of on my desk because I don't knock the bookshelf that's up there, so it won't fall off. If I were to get anything now, because I'm getting me and Eve beginning of this year when they announced the Valhalla game, we actually pre-ordered the collector's edition instantly, which is great because I've already paid for it, so I don't have to worry about that. I'm just going to get the game with the statue and everything, and the statue is the female Eivor on the front of a Viking long ship, like holding on to it, like it's crashing over the waves. So then I'll have one for every of the RPG Assassin's Creeds, which would be really cool.
Nice.
And there was something else about that. Oh, the other things I want, statue-wise, I really, really want a replica of Cassandra or Alexius's spear from Odyssey. You can get it in its fully upgraded form on the Ubisoft site, and it was only like 50 quid, and I was like, one day, it's not a lot of money, but when I have that little amount of money, I'm getting it. And then I want a Kratos statue, like the new Kratos, with the beard and the axe and stuff. But I might just wait for the next game, which has now been announced, to get a collector's, because nothing is going to stop me that time from getting a collector's like the first one did. So I
was going to say, did you see the Mars Morales?
Mate, I watched the whole. I watched every single conference. It was amazing.
I am hyped for that Hogwarts game, you know.
Yeah, I actually am.
I will be hyped if certain things are met.
Right.
I like the idea that at the beginning of the game you are in Hogwarts and you're allowed to explore the land, and then I like the idea of whilst you're playing the game, graduating from Hogwarts, and then the rest of the world opens up to you. Rather than using Hogwarts as like a hub. You know, where you're collecting missions from Hogwarts or whatever, because that's not what Hogwarts is. Hogwarts is a school where you learn how to play the game. Like
Hogwarts is a school where you learn to prepare for the world, and that's kind of what you want to emulate. I agree.
I want that to emulate that, and I want it to be a completely open world with a fucking shit ton of mobs. I want the entire Fantastic Beasts book to be in this fucking game.
I want flying. They showed flying, or they hinted towards Quidditch flying, stick flying, right? Because they did the up thing, and then they were flying hippogriffs.
Should be dope.
I really want.
Don't you think it would be awesome as like an MMO?
So here's the thing. My mate Laurie thinks it looks great as an MMO. I don't want it to be an MMO, but I'd like it to be like a 4-player co-op, 2-player co-op.
Yeah.
And it looked
Definitely.
like it did look like a co-op game, but I don't.
Could you imagine if it's actually just a Monster Hunter game and they just reskinned it and they're like, oh,
Harry Potter Monster Hunter. I'm excited, and there's a lot of controversy around it at the minute with J.K. Rowling and her transphobia and stuff like that. And a lot of people are saying boycott the game, and people who are saying do it to support the people who actually worked on the game are being met with they've already been paid. And you have people. I saw things. It really frustrated me. I saw a thing today where some guy was like, "Hey, I'm a game tester. I used to do game testing, so you can trust me when I say that they've already been paid for a game. You're not supporting them for it. You don't have to buy it. Just avoid."
Yeah, but it's about the good rep that comes with having worked on a game that does well.
But not just that. It's the longevity of the studio. If a studio starts up and they borrow publishing fees, that means part of the money they get back from the game pays off those publishing loans, right? Then the rest of the money ensures that they can stay open for the next 3 years developing whatever they make next. If you don't support them for this game, that studio will close and hundreds of jobs will be lost.
Yeah.
It's not. I will not let one person's horrid transphobic sayings and views stop me from supporting the hundreds of people who work their asses off in game design, which is the thing I study. I play games. I study those games. I am so interested to see how wand combat works. How do they make that work? How do they balance it? How does it feel weighty when you can only do so many movements with it? Like, how do they do that? That's part of why I want to play it, but also it just looks fun. And why shouldn't I celebrate this world alike just because the creator is a horrible human being?
It's like people still listen to Michael Jackson's music, but eventually you separate the art from the person, you know? It doesn't really matter what the person's done in the past. If the music's fucking good, if the world that this person has created is good, and Harry Potter has been a huge thing on the world since the 90s, you know, like since the first book came out, everybody loved it. So putting a dampener on the entire wizarding world because bloody Rita Skeeter has turned around and gone actually Hermione is Hagrid, and then from the past, I find it ridiculous that people would taint such a beloved thing. But because
the only other thing that I do agree with it, but at the same time I'm like, there are more angles to this, and it just shows the kind of disconnect between the gamer, you know, the consumer, and how making games works. And that's something I've always wanted to break down. People don't get it. You have to support the companies. You don't. The answer isn't they've already worked on this game, they've already been paid for it, you don't need to support it. It's not true. That company can close and hundreds will lose their jobs. That's just how it works. It's a rough industry. The only thing is, she might not get money for it because she sold the rights for the game universe, but supporting the brand of Harry Potter does actually support her, because it shows businesses that it's a workable thing and they'll make money from it, and so that'll keep supporting her in the long run. But again, I'm a pretty spiteful guy, but she can do successful. She's already rich and famous.
Yeah.
She's only going to get more rich and famous. I don't care if she gets rich and famous. It's one person. I just don't care. The world is still amazing. The world has done so many things for people growing up and for mental health and people just needing a place to feel at home and comfortable. They've done that, and they're making more of this world for new people to experience. And amazingly talented people have worked on these things. You know, it's not their fault she's a horrible transphobe, among other things. I'm going to support the game because I want to, but I just don't think anyone has the right to say that you're either an ally or you're against you. I think that's just a really, really bad take. But that's what I'm saying a lot, and that's why these are the conversations that come up that don't open to other sides. And I think I don't really want to be on Twitter for a little bit. You're bumming me out. But yeah, I want to support it. I think it looks fun. And that whole conference was just like, whoa. Well, opening with Miles Morales too. Like,
Miles Morales. Oh my god.
What a fucking gameplay demo.
For real good.
Yeah.
And like, I was so surprised watching the gameplay. I was so surprised on how they've managed to make it look and feel so different.
Yeah.
Using Miles Morales' like movesets from the comics and everything. But so like, I was expecting it to be basically like using similar attributes to the Spider-Man. from Spider-Man. But no, they've like moved cities. They've got like fucking electric, and you can like go invisible, and people don't know where you are. It's dope. It looks so good. I'm actually excited again.
I'm so excited for it, and
this will be a release day pickup for me.
Not that 100%. I'm saying that Marvel Spider-Man, the first one, wasn't Insomniac's strength, but they're really playing to their strength now because they're taking what they learnt from making the Infamous games
developing on it,
and combining it with what they did in Spider-Man, and that just instantly gives you Miles Morales. I mean, he's got powers similar to what you do see in the Insomniac's Infamous, like Second Son and stuff. Those fucking dash abilities where he smashes people like through the fencing, and like he can like shock everyone up in the air and start beating the shit out of them. He has a unique swinging animation style.
Yes.
It's completely different. It's a bit messier and less refined and less gymnastic based and more just like free flow. And his fighting style is different. I love that one animation where he flips into the air, shoots the ground, pulls himself back down, and punches the guy in the face. That was sick. That whole demo was just... I've watched it 4 times already. I can't stop watching it. The music at the end, it's just so good. I'm so excited.
I'm very excited for it. I felt like there was another game that was announced. Was it a Star Wars game?
No, that Squadron is a really long time ago.
Oh, right, okay.
But they did actually show a game. They showed Final Fantasy 16. I'm not a Final Fantasy player. I only ever played 14. I'm an MMO Final Fantasy guy, which is like sacrilege to people, but I don't really care. This is the first one that looks interesting to me. It's set in like a medieval sort of period, and you seem to be like this royal kid's kind of guard, and the kid seems to have some sort of destiny power that's very dangerous, and it looked interesting. Then at the very, very end, did you watch the actual conference, or did you just watch the like highlights?
I just watched the highlights. I watched the trailers afterwards.
So they showed it like all blacked out. They were ending, and then you see this like these like particle effects coming in, and I'm thinking, oh, Last of Us multiplayer? Have they done that now? And this is like the spores and stuff. For number 2, because they have it in the first one. It's still active actually in the first one. You can still play it. And then this music starts playing, and I'm like, oh my god, it's God of War. Oh my god, it's actually God of War. What the fuck? Eve sat next to me sobbing. She's crying. Right, we've both realised it at this point. And the logo starts like you know the snake logo that like goes on like that.
Wasn't it like blue?
Yeah, and it's like paint streak, and it starts slowly going around like that as it's going, and you're like, oh my god! And that's all they showed. And the rat bastard that is Cory Barlog, the creative director, a year ago did a Twitter thread where he showed behind the scenes of the working of the first game, and the beginning letter of every single tweet makes together saying Ragnarok is coming. Over a year ago, no one caught
it. That actually gave me chills when you said that. Ragnarok is coming,
and that's exactly what the preview said. It just said Ragnarok is coming. And that's why the snow was, because Loki's killed Balder, which is the start of Ragnarok, and then the 3-year winter, which is Fumble Winter. And I
still have not played the first God of War. It's on my shelf over there.
Have you played it at all, other than when you played it at my house?
Nope.
Are you going to save it for Get With the Times?
Maybe at this point.
Because it could be fun. I love that game. It could be fun. Also, because here's the thing, it wasn't just a games thing. Like, a games industry, but it wasn't just a video game thing. It was actually showing more of the PlayStation 5 as a console.
Yeah.
And they were saying how when you get a PlayStation 5 at launch, or thereabout, when you have a PlayStation 5 within probably around the first year or so, they're giving you 13 games for free to play at launch.
13.
Spider-Man, The Last of Us. Like it's a ridiculous collection of games. Like you will get to play God of War on the PS5 for free. It will just be there. Nice. I mean, I could play it. It's backwards compatible, so I could do that anyway. But because as well, I don't know if I ever showed you this. So PlayStation did this deal with Game. This is the actual cover for God of War. This is the original.
Yeah, they did the sleeves, didn't they?
Yeah, so they released special sleeves for the like thingy collections, and I couldn't afford to do them all. I traded in what I could to get this one, and they gave you these sleeves.
Yeah.
Which are just like, they're so simple, but they're so nice. And they had a Spider-Man one, which was like this red, but it had
it was the red and the silhouette.
Logo.
Yeah.
It was so good. But I couldn't afford to do it. And they had an Uncharted one too. But I'd love to do that on Get Other Times with you, because I just love the game. I love the game so much. I'm going to stream it.
For it.
Which I'm going to put the link in the description. I'll put your link in as well, because George streams sometimes if his internet allows it. Now he's moved. But I'm planning on streaming God of War again on the hardest difficulty and actually getting the trophy this time, which will mean I got platinumed on it, because there's one trophy I've been avoiding doing, and it's get all of the Ravens. It's the only thing. But I feel like for me,
you missed one on your last playthrough.
Well, I didn't. It wasn't that I missed one. I wasn't really looking, and then I completed it, and I thought, I have to do the whole game again. And then I was like, I'm going to do it on the hardest mode, and I couldn't get past the Dark Fairy fight on Alfheim, because it's fucking difficult. He blinds you, and then you can't see, and then you get one shot. But I feel like I have to complete it on Game of God of War mode to like really honor it. So I'm going to do that on stream. But at the minute on stream, I'm playing through Spider-Man PS4 again, in light of Miles Morales. Except I'm not playing it. Eva's playing it.
Oh, nice. Okay.
Eva's never played like proper games all the way through. She seems to be, and she played a little bit of The Last of Us for a little bit. She didn't get as far as we got and Get With The Times already or anything.
Yeah.
It was a lot more stressful because people don't realize that The Last of Us isn't fun. It's good. There's a big difference. It's not fun. It's stressful, but it's good. Spider-Man is fucking fun. Like, she was loving it, and she was at the beginning of the stream, she was just fucking giddy laughing as she swung around, like going to help Yuri out and stuff. She caught Herman Huss, the Shocker, in the first chase scene. My sister couldn't get past that part for a year. She didn't do it. But yeah, Eve did it, and so when we go back whenever, she's going to do that. So we're doing that. Just because there are sequels coming up with these games, and Eve wants to see Miles Morales, but she didn't watch me play the first one. Yeah. So, yeah. I mean, we had just moved into our flat in my foundation year 2 years ago when that game came out.
Of course, yes.
It was the day we moved.
Day of, yeah.
So Eve was like, I pre-ordered Spider-Man well in advance. Like, I picked up God of War.
It was the 14th of September, wasn't it?
7th.
The 7th.
I remember the date exactly, right? So I went. In the UK we have Game, and in Game I pre-ordered God of War. Actually, Brad pre-ordered God of War for me because he was going to get something, pre-order something, and I asked him if he could do it because he was doing it on work time. I asked him if he could do it for me too, and I'd just pay him the $5. And so he went and got it, and they were like, "Hey, do you want to just change your pre-order over because you can do that?" And so I pre-ordered Spider-Man on the pre-order money that he put down. But then basically Eve was like, "Okay, we're going to move on this date," which is the 7th, and I was like, "Okay, cool." And then we got closer, and I was like, Spider-Man comes out on the 7th. Eve, we can't move. And she was like, no, we're moving. I was like, okay, fair enough. Yeah, it's actually a pretty good reason to move, sorry. So I cancelled it, got it sent to the Amazon locker. I picked it up on the day of moving, and I played it on our move-in night.
It's such a good game, though.
It's so
such a good game.
And that intro, like Eve, like I said, Eve didn't even get to the gameplay before she was giddy. She was like, "Oh, this is cool. Oh, that looks so cool. Oh, I'm really excited."
And then suddenly, gameplay, it just eases in. It's like, whee!
He starts jumping out the window and wall running. She's like, "Oh, this looks so cool," but little did they know it's going to get real bad when they handed it to me. And I was like, "Well, you better get ready." And she was like, "Why?" And then the gameplay started.
Straight into a wall.
No, she was doing good actually. Yeah.
Good.
It's a lot of fun. And then we've also on stream, we've not done all of it, but they said in Ubi Forward, it was a Forward event where they talk about Valhalla a little bit. They said that the DLC for Odyssey is going to tie in a little bit to the new game, and I never did the DLC. I got the first one given to me for free. PlayStation just gave it out for some reason.
Yeah.
So I did that on stream with Eve. Completed the whole first episode. There are 2 more episodes I haven't done. And then there's the Legacy of the Lost King. I don't have the money to get them, but eventually I'm going to do that. I'm just waiting for a sale to come on or something, and hopefully get it done before November 10th, which is when Assassin's Creed comes out now. I guess you're not even really playing anything since you've been moved.
No, I really am not. Especially like the first couple of nights I was here, I was trying to hook up my PS4 to the Wi-Fi, and you've got to like input your MAC address into this thing, and then it's got to get accepted.
I did
and
that.
All of that.
I had to do that in Middlesbrough.
Ball ache. It was, and now obviously I want to hook it up to a Ethernet cable as well, so that when we do record some more stuff, we've got we've got stuff to put out.
So where is your Ethernet port?
My Ethernet is there, but behind the desk. So to get to it, I have to pull my PC out because we have our beds flip over into desks. So I have to move my PC out from underneath and everything else out from underneath to then flip this over and hopefully not knock over my monitors to then be able to reach over, plug in a Ethernet cable and dangle it down. I think I plugged both of them in. So I don't actually have to do that. Yeah. So there's one plugged into my PC and there's one that's going to go into the PS4 when it's in my room rather than the kitchen.
Cool. I assumed you just have one port, and I was going to say you might need to get a TP-Link to extend it to a 2-1 or something, but that's cool. A lot of them don't do that. Oh.
Yeah.
That's going to sort us right out. We're sorted. I was so worried. Yeah, hopefully. I was so worried.
So was I after the other day when we were like trying to do the dawdling episode. And
yeah. And it was just buffering constantly. Luckily, you recorded that episode.
Yes.
Yes.
I'm in shot from over here.
Just taking off her shoes. She's
and that was Eve's premiere to the channel.
Here, like I could. Oh.
It covers the whole sofa. If you sit on your side of the sofa, not mine.
Yeah, now you just hid.
now you're just deliberately making yourself see.
Now pretend to stand on his shoulder and we'll make a new cover to cover his trouble.
Do you know what? That should be an episode. One of us should get a really cheap green screen and we have to recreate the covers to the shit covers.
The really shitty cover.
I think we should do that. I think that'd be really funny.
We should.
What's a cheap green screen? Can you just get a green sheet?
You can get a green blanket. And
yeah, let's do it.
Do the same
let's
thing.
do it. I think that'd be so funny. Yeah. So should we end this? Because we've still got to film some Get With The Times.
Yes.